It has been a while since I've done a video about my 2025 DR-Z4S here, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So basically what I'm going to do is go through all of the different mods that I've done up through March of 2026. So one of the first things I did was remove the little rubber inserts from the foot pegs. I do not have frame guards yet. That's something I'm still waiting for somebody to come out with and sell in the US. You can see here I have the tusked small tank bag. I've added a small pigtail back here, a battery tender style pigtail for a trickle charger. I've upgraded to a 44 tooth rear sprocket. I'll have a link down in the description below that describes why I upgraded to that. I just did not like the shift points riding in the dirt on the 43 tooth factory rear sprocket. When I changed the rear sprocket, I did not have to do anything to the chain, but what I did do when I adjusted the chain is completely removed both of these adjuster bolts out of the swing arm and applied anti-seize compound to those. Having a chain adjuster bolt break off in the swing arm would be an absolute nightmare trying to extract that bolt. So that's something that any bike that has a swing arm with this style adjuster mechanism that has a bolt threaded into the swing arm, that's something that's definitely a must-do upgrade or must-do maintenance, prevented maintenance item. Here's a small shot of the battery tender pigtail. There's actually a little notch cut out in this battery enclosure, so the cable just runs right through that. It's almost as if Suzuki's intentionally designed the bike with that in mind. One thing I have not done yet is replaced either the front or the rear tire. You can see here the rear tire, it's getting worn down pretty low. I'll probably run this partway through the 2026 riding season and then eventually replace it. The front, I'm definitely going to replace the front before I do any riding this year. You can also see Tusk Small Olympus tank bag. I do need to probably reposition it forward just a little bit because there's sort of a gap here, and you can see here that this is not the stock tank. Another video that's yet to be released is the installation process for this 3.3 gallon IMS tank. I'm really not sure yet how I'm going to work out my final positioning of this tank bag now that I have the IMS tank on. It can slide forward just a little bit more, and that's probably what I need to do. Another thing here, I'm still kind of dialing in which style double take mirrors I want. I have the round mirror over on this side, and then I have the adventure style mirror on the other side. You can see here that my grip is missing. It's because I have not totally finalized my grip heater installation project yet. Eventually we'll have a video of that project as well. As far as my mirrors go, I'm probably going to use the adventure style mirrors. So over on this side, the right side of the bike, I left the mirror spacer in place on top of the brake perch, because if we remove this spacer and have the ball mounted right there where the spacer is mounted, then this arm ends up rubbing against the throttle cable boot, and then it makes it kind of difficult to adjust the mirror. So that's why I've left that spacer in place. As far as my hand guards go, these are Cycra Pro Bend Ultra CRM. At least I think that's the correct nomenclature. I've got these on my Ibex 450 as well, and they are a direct bolt-on to both of those bikes. You can see here a white headlight shroud. So I haven't actually fully installed that yet. I need to remove the little nut plates off of the gray one. And the reason I'm going with white is to make the bike a little bit more visible when I'm riding dirt roads in shaded conditions. It'll just make it a little bit more visible for people that are coming towards me, whether it's other vehicles or other motorcycles. For grips, I'm running Pro Grip style grips. These are a relatively soft compound. There is another style of Pro Grip that's even softer but I don't like them because the diameter is just a little bit bigger, and for somebody with hands that are a little bit smaller, it actually kind of makes the bars hard to grip when you're wrestling the bike around riding single track trails or technical off-road terrain. So I've been running these on my old DR-Z since I bought that bike in 2006. So it was just natural to go ahead and switch to these on the new DR-Z. Take a quick look at the cockpit of the bike. So over here is a Ram style ball mount for my GPS. I need to move that over here. I've had this off for a while and it just threw it back on the bike today thinking that's where I had it, but that is not where I've had it. This is where I have my roll chart holder, and the GPS mount needs to go over there. I installed this here for the purpose of the video and then got the nut tightened down and realized, nope, it needs to go over here because of how I have this wire routing. So this is the actual mount for the GPS. GPS snaps on here. I'm running a Zumo XT, and then between this and this, I'll either have a short ram arm or maybe one that's a medium length. Then we have the Tusk accessory dash panel. I've got a USB power port, which also has a voltmeter and a power switch on it. That's triggered by the ignition switch. And then we have my power switch for the grip heaters. I have an anti-glare screen protector. I have actually not taken off the protective layer from that screen protector. I've just left it in place. That's what this little tab is for. I don't remember if I bought this on eBay or Amazon. It was really difficult to find somebody that was making these. The hand guards that I have, I mentioned that they are a direct bolt-on. Here is the center reach mount clamp. That's what CRM stands for. You can see it's missing here. It's because I took all of this stuff apart on this side of the bike when I was doing the grip heater installation. So my ultimate plan is to install taller handlebars. So that is why nothing is put back together on this side. And this grip heater element is sort of temporary taped in place while I finalize the wiring. I've got a short USB cable that I can plug in here. It's routed through the access port in my tank bag, and then I can put my battery charger for my helmet cam inside of the tank bag and charge batteries on the go. Here's a nice front shot of the white headlight shroud. So let's take a look at the radiator guards. These are from Emperor Racing. When I bought these in December, at that point there were only 2 companies in the US where you could buy radiator guards, and that was Flatland Racing and Emperor Racing. There may be some other companies building radiator guards right now, but I don't know for sure because I haven't done any research. The Emperor Racing radiator guards, they're actually a company that's based up in Canada, but they do ship products to the US. One thing I don't have yet is a skid plate. I've gone through 2 different skid plates and neither one of them fit right. My current method of protecting the paint along the frame from getting scratched up from my riding boots is some clear vinyl motorcycle graphics material. I have it down here, and then I have a strip of it up here, and then I had a small strip right here because that's originally where I had the strap for the tank bag. Some point in time I will probably get a rear master cylinder guard. I don't know on that yet. Don't have my mind set on that. There is also several companies making a rear passenger foot peg eliminator bracket. You actually need something here because just like the old DR-Z, the exhaust attaches to where this foot peg is mounted to the subframe. One of the drawbacks of removing this though is then you don't have a spot to tie down luggage. This loop here, or tying around here, makes a really good spot to tie down luggage. So I don't know what I'm going to do there yet. It really depends on how I end up using this bike this summer. I would like to take it on some BDR rides. I think probably one of my favorite mods, and this is something I didn't have any intention of doing when I bought the bike, but I was not going to do any kind of a rear fender eliminator bracket, otherwise known as a tail tidy, until I saw this one. It's made by a company in Indiana called Flexi Fender. It's made out of 3D printed material and it's flexible. It would actually probably be pretty much impossible to break this. So I'll have an affiliate link where you can order this either from Amazon or directly from Flexi Fender. So it uses the stock taillight and it also accommodates the stock turn signals. Because this is flexible, there is some flex to the turn signals. So at the moment, I don't have any immediate plans to replace the turn signals. Down the road, I might. I don't know yet. I just don't really see the need to spend a whole bunch of money on aftermarket turn signals, because a lot of the nice aftermarket ones that are flexible and whatnot are relatively expensive. Looking up here behind the headlight, I've actually pulled some of this wiring out, but I've mentioned this in other videos, is I have a little power splitter dongle from Cyclops Adventure Sports. So it is these two pieces right here, and this little heat shrink piece, and then this piece here, and this is the dummy plug that is plugged into the original factory accessory connector, which is this black connector right there, and then this end here, this white piece, is the mating piece for that or for here. So it still allows you to plug something in here as well as here and here. So we've got two negative connections in this, two positive connections, and then we have two more negative connections and two more positive connections. So I am powering my GPS from this, and then later on I'll move to the back of the bike. So this blue wire is a wire that triggers my Tusk accessory power fuse block unit for ignition triggered circuits, which that's what powers up my USB and my grip heaters. So we just kind of tuck all this wiring back here. I have it tied in place with some little Velcro ties, and then I can get the headlight shroud on. So some of this stuff with the wiring and whatnot, I'll have full installation videos linked down in the description below. Down here on the front wheel, I have the Suzuki accessory front brake rotor guard, and you can see here it's got some pretty ugly rash on it. That was from my crash when I had the radiator smash incident on the Washington backcountry discovery route. Then looking here at the battery box area, this is my Tusk power unit. The wiring comes down here, and then there it is right there, and it gets routed up to the front of the bike following the original factory harness. And then here's my battery tender lead right there. Tucked down in here on top of the upper triple clamp right below the ignition switch, I have a Tusk hour meter / tachometer. I've never been able to get that thing set correctly to read the RPMs, but it is useful as an hour meter. So right now you can see it's 76.9. So all of 2025, that's how many hours I put on the bike. So I think the reason that it won't pick up engine speed correctly is because the DR-Z4S and SM use a dual spark plug ignition, and maybe they have some kind of a weird firing sequence where one of the spark plugs fires multiple times for each engine revolution. I have no idea, but I played with the settings and never have been able to figure that out. And as far as how I have the wiring for that hour meter unit routed, is it's not connected to the secondary spark plug here in the side of the head. It's connected to the one at the very top of the head. So I think that pretty much wraps up outlining all the mods that I've done to my DR-Z4S. So a couple more mods that I might do, which I sort of mentioned, maybe not, earlier on in the video, is I might do turn signals. Haven't made up my mind on that yet. I definitely still need a skid plate. I mentioned earlier I've tried 2 different skid plates and I didn't have success getting either one of them mounted. The bolt holes didn't line up correctly. Handlebars, I definitely I'm going to do some new handlebars. I'll probably do some handlebars with the bend called CR high bend. Rear brake master cylinder guard, that's a future upgrade once I find one. And I think that pretty much covers everything. Over here is my 2002 DR-Z4S, which I don't have any intention of getting rid of. There's certain things I like about the old DR-Z that are missing features on the new DR-Z4S. So you can see here that the poor thing is missing its front wheel. On my last ride last year, I bent the front wheel. And when I took everything apart to get the front wheel fixed, so the repair shop that I took the front wheel to, I pointed out the bend that I caused last year. And then I also pointed out another spot that has been bent for at least 15 years. And they noticed right away that that other bend was right at the seam where the wheel was welded together when it was manufactured, and they noticed that there was a crack right there. So the wheel is basically unrepairable. Because it's cracked right where it's welded, it just flat out needs to be replaced. And it is really difficult to find places that sell just a replacement rim, and then you have to go to the expense to get somebody to relace it. I don't know if that's something I want to try and tackle. I did at one point find a used wheel on eBay, and I ordered it, and it was a corroded, crusty mess on all of the spokes. So I abandoned that project and returned that wheel back to the seller and got my money back. But if you're interested in seeing a similar video about all the mods that I've done to that bike, post down in the comment below and maybe I'll work on a video for that.